Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda, and although I'm wearing a turkey hat this week, I'm making a Santa hat. If you want to see me make a new cake every week and wear a new ridiculous hat every week, subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell. Why can't I wear this instead?
No, that's for Santa, yo.
What if I faint? You have to call the ambulance and you'll be like, she overheated from a turkey hat that I forced her to wear. And Jeremy, you will be an accomplice. To make this Santa hat cake, I baked 12 pounds of my ultimate vanilla batter and dyed half of it red and half of it green. This turkey hat is shaking. Once all 6 cakes are removed from their pans, I level them and remove the caramelization from the bottom. Then I cut all of my cakes in half horizontally to give me 12 layers in total. Oh, like the 12 days of Christmas! It's time to simple syrup all 12 layers of my cake, and Sir Squeeze-a-Lot, well, Santa Claus, is here to help me. What's that? I'm misrepresenting you by wearing this hat? I agree. For your own Sir Squeeze-a-Lot and to learn more about why I use simple syrup, click the link in the description below. That will be all. While my simple syrup is absorbing into my cakes, I'm going to take the time to make some white chocolate candy cane buttercream.
Whoa.
We should do this like one of those commercials, like white chocolate candy cane buttercream. The recipe for my white chocolate candy cane buttercream is actually in my Holiday Baking Hacks ebook. It's a secret video that only people with the ebook can watch. So pick up the ebook, there's a link in the description below. I'm going to start filling my Santa hat cake, alternating colors of cake layers and filling with white chocolate candy cane buttercream.
The weirdest holiday voice I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. This is the weirdest holiday hat I've ever seen in my life. Now we're only going to use 8 of our cake layers to build up our hat. I'm going to save the 4 smallest cake layers to make a special treat for Santa. That's why he always comes to my house and leaves me great gifts. And now it's time to carve. A Santa hat is like a tall triangle, but because it's so soft, it kind of like billows down and flops over. So what I had to do was sort of carve motion and creases into the hat. Basically what I'm looking for is that when my hat is covered with fondant in the end, it still looks like it's made of fabric. It doesn't just look like a bell or a cone. Around the base of the cake, about 3 inches up, I didn't do any carving there because that's where the band of white fur is gonna go later, and I wanted that to be a definite circle. Now it's time to crumb coat and chill. You can use a small offset or straight spatula to apply your crumb coat, but make sure to use plain Italian meringue buttercream, not the candy cane buttercream, because you don't want all the lovely little bumps of candy cane. They taste good, but they're bumpy. I, of course, chill my cake after the crumb coat, and then I ice my cake one more time and chill it again. It's time to cover this entire cake in red fondant. I roll my red fondant big enough so that it will be able to drape over my entire cake. And as I drape it over, I allow any natural folds and creases to fall where they may. I don't want to smooth this fondant right up against the cake. I want it to look like fabric. The only place I do smooth it is the bottom 3 inches of the cake where the fur band will go on later. Because I let the creases fall as they may, there are a lot of folds in my fondant down on that bottom band. But don't worry, I use my smoother to smooth it as best I can and then trim away any excess with a sharp paring knife. Doesn't look neat now, but it will be covered up with fur or coconut, one of those two. Before moving on, I just want to mark the bottom of my cake where my white band is going to go later. I use a piece of mat board that I cut to the right height, and I basically kind of used it as a fondant smoother, pressing it around the whole cake. Because the fondant is still a bit soft, I'm able to press it in and it leaves a mark all around the cake. Now it's time to address the floppy part of Santa's hat.
He never likes to talk about that.
He doesn't. He's embarrassed. What? He told me. Creating this floppy part of Santa's hat is a lot harder than it looks. It actually took me 3 tries. I started by rolling out some red fondant, cutting it into a big triangle, and then I folded that triangle over onto itself, gluing the seams together with a bit of water to create a red cone. And then I quickly need to place this whole thing onto my cake and have it flop over. So it kind of looks like Santa's hat has like collapsed in the middle and flopped over. The tricky part is that when you lift up your cone, because it's heavier on the bottom, it often rips. This is why you need to be as fast as you can. Once it's in position on top of the hat and you like how it's falling, use a little bit of water and brush that water underneath to secure it to the cake. That's very important because it's heavy and you don't want it to eventually pull. To make the white band at the base of the Santa hat, I roll out some fondant that is long enough to go around the circumference of the cake and thicker than the area that I marked out on the hat. I then use a ruler and a sharp knife to cut the band to the exact height that I need. You like how I've added a sexy voice for ruler, right? Have you noticed that? I'm like using a ruler. I wet the base of my cake with a paintbrush and a little bit of water, and then I carefully pick up the band and wrap it around the base of the cake. To soften the top edge of the white band, I just use my fingertip and smooth out that fondant a little bit. Then I brush the entire white band with clear piping gel and press shredded sweetened coconut into the white fondant to represent fur. That fur was tasty. You know, I make a mini version of Santa hats in my Holiday Baking Hacks ebook. They're delicious and you can eat them in one bite. This hat is not complete. Santa needs a pom-pom. To make my pom-pom, I make a little bit of my sculpting Rice Krispie recipe, and then I take that mixture and roll it into a ball, really compressing it and rolling a ball. Once it sets really quickly. I then brush the entire ball with clear piping gel, roll out a little circle of white fondant, and cover the ball in white fondant. To smooth out any seams in the ball, I just roll the entire ball between my palms. Then I brush the ball once again with clear piping gel and coat it in the same sweetened shredded coconut that's on the bottom of my hat. To adhere this pom-pom to Santa's hat, I do use a lollipop stick just because it has a little bit of weight and we wouldn't want Santa to lose his pom-pom. I also used a dab of royal icing to further secure the pom-pom. If it falls off the sleigh, a reindeer might eat it.
You think of everything, yo.
I know. See, Santa? I'm looking out for you. Now, don't forget about those 4 extra layers of cake. We have to make a special treat for Santa when he gets here. I take those layers, I fill them with my white chocolate candy cane buttercream.
I forgot about that.
How could you forget? This is the pinnacle of this episode. I just make him a lovely open face cake so he can see the red and green layers and the white chocolate candy cane buttercream, and I place it on a special plate for Santa. Thank you for watching How to Cake It. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and please click the notification bell. That is really all I want for Christmas. Next week, we're going to be doing a How to Cake It year in review. Please leave a comment below of what cakes you want to see me make in 2017. There will be no singing next year.
There'll be lots of hats.